Welcome back to page 121. Today we're going to take a look at 5 spells. 5 spells. See the hand? From Player's Handbook. They are the various Bigby's hand spells. We're going to take an in-depth look at all 5 of those, why they're definitely worth putting in your repertoire. They don't see a ton of use at my table, except when I'm playing a magic user, because I use them all the time. So I'm going to explain why they're good spells to have in your memorized arsenal, and why you should use them on the table, and some neat little figures that Nolzur's put out a few years ago for them. So today on page 121, Player's Handbook, 5 Bigby's hand spells. The Bigby's hand spells. I always loved these spells. I remember when I first started playing D&D, I was so excited at the possibility of getting to be high enough level to cast some of these. These are some nice little figures that Nolzur's came out with a few years ago. Magical effects set. I bought these off the secondary market. Very affordable, at least when I bought them. That's the Bigby's hand, the Interposing Hand. There's the Grasping Hand. Here's the Clenched Fist, and then Crushing. We'll take a look at all those spells. I just want to show these neat little magic item effects. I have these at my table anytime anybody's playing a mage of 9th level or higher, because the 5th level spell, the mage would have to be 9th level in order to cast it. So we're going to go to the first of the Bigby spells. There are 5 in this book. There are a bunch of others put in for in the Greyhawk Adventures book that was out in the late 80s. There were a bunch of different Bigby and auto spells and things like that. And of course, the Encyclopedia Magica, you can see them there as well. So here we have the Interposing Hand. That would be this buddy. And basically, it's a level 5 spell. Range is 1 inch per level. So 90 feet if you're 9th level. Casting time of 5 segments and no saving throw. Interestingly, there is no saving throw against these, and we have ruled that magic resistance does not work because these are basically energy constructs. At our table, somebody with magic resistance does not have any opportunity to just walk through a wall of force. The magic can affect him, and in fact, a blade barrier being nothing but blades of force, we don't allow magic resistance to work against that spell either. So some interesting things, and I realize there are arguments that say I'm wrong, but it's the way we've played it, and it's the way I've liked playing it, so we're going to keep our ruling. So basically, the spell itself, Bigby's Interposing Hand is a large to huge size magic member which appears and places itself between the spellcaster and his opponent. The disembodied hand then remains between the two, regardless of what the spellcaster does subsequently or how the opponent tries to get around it. So if he were to dimension door behind the magic user, the hand would just zip around and go interpose itself between the attacker and the magic user. I like that idea. The size of the hand is determined by the magic user. It can be human-sized all the way up to man-sized, or Titan-sized, it takes as many hit points of damage to destroy as the magic user who cast it. Interestingly, no mention of armor class. Can you strike this thing with a physical weapon? We rolled again. Yes, you can. And the armor class we've given it is 0. So you can destroy it with magical effects. Interestingly, you could not hit it with a magic missile, for instance, since that has to be directed at a living creature. But you could disintegrate it or anything like that. Any creature weighing less than 2,000 pounds trying to push past it will be slowed to 1/2 normal movement. The material component of the spell is a glove. And keep in mind, the mage can be backpedaling as this guy's slogging his way through the Interposing Hand. I've seen the Interposing Hand used very well. I've used it very well to keep an opponent at bay while I prepared another longer casting time spell. Gotten the spell off before he could get to me. So, good use for the Interposing Hand. And now we come to Bigby's Forceful Hand. That one is right here. So Bigby's Forceful Hand is still the same little icon, the pushing hand. And basically, it's a more powerful version of the Interposing Hand. It's level 6, of course, 1 inch per range, 1 round per level, 6 segments. That's pretty standard for magic user spells. And the Forceful Hand is a more powerful version of the Interposing Hand. It exerts a force in addition to interposing itself. And this force is sufficient to push a creature away from the spellcaster if the creature weighs 500 pounds or less. To push so as to slow movement to 1 inch per round if the creature weighs between 500 and 2,000 pounds. And to slow movement by 50% creatures weighing up to 8,000 pounds. Anything after that, they're just too big. Takes as many hit points to destroy as the creator has, material component is a glove. So basically just a better version of that. Again, it will interpose itself no matter what the opponent does. So if the opponent tries to fly overhead or something, the Forceful Hand will be pushing him back. And again, this gives Magic user time to ready some other spells or get away. So next, we come to the 7th level spell, Bigby's Grasping Hand. That would be this guy, Bigby's Grasping Hand. And this one, level 7, 1 inch per level, range, 1 round per level, duration, 7 segment casting time, no saving throw. Bigby's Grasping Hand is a superior version of the 6th level Bigby's Forceful Hand, being like it in many ways. The Grasping Hand can actually hold motionless a creature or object of up to 1,000 pounds weight, or move creatures as a double strength Forceful Hand. The material component is a leather glove. So pretty cool. Again, it doesn't mention being destroyed here, but since it's so much like the others, then yes, it's destroyed once you've done damage to it equal to the caster's hit points. So if the caster has 30 hit points, you do 30 points of damage, the hand is destroyed. Interestingly, I have had it come up at the table a couple of times, and I have ruled that if you are held by a Grasping Hand and you have the ability to cast something that has no somatic gestures like a Dimension Door, you can simply Dimension Door out of the hand. The hand will still go after you because it's like the other hands. It's going to impose itself between you and the mage. So it's going to chase you, but you'd be able to outdistance it. It can only go up to 70 feet. So there's a limited range that it could chase you. So it's a good way to get away from this particular spell. So now we go to the 8th level spell of the various Bigbys. This is Bigby's Clenched Fist. As I said, it's 8th level. This is this particular magic icon. And it's level 8. You only get 5 feet per level now because the Clenched Fist is so much more powerful. Casting time is 8 segments. Again, no saving throw. And again, no magic resistance against this. Bigby's Clenched Fist spell brings forth a huge disembodied hand which is balled into a fist. This magical member is under the mental control of the spellcaster, and he or she can cause it to strike an opponent each round. No other spellcasting or magical activity may be undertaken for the duration of the spell. The Clenched Fist never misses, but the effectiveness of the blow varies from round to round. So each time the magic user throws a die 20, 1 through 12, he gets 1 to 6 points of damage on a glancing blow. 13 to 16, it's a solid punch, 2 to 12 hit points of damage. 17 to 19 is a hard punch, 3 to 18 points, the opponent is stunned next round. And then a 20, it's a crushing blow, 4 to 24, and the opponent is stunned for the next 3 rounds. Again, I feel this speaks to what I've always complained about D&D in the core books, topping out around 12th level, because let's face it, this is an 8th level spell, and you've got an overwhelming chance of doing 2 to 12 points of damage or under. You've got a real high chance. 1 through 16 are going to give you 2 to 12 or less. It's entirely possible to throw Snake Eyes on that. You're only doing 2 points of damage in a round using an 8th level spell. So to combat that, I have mentioned the OO on my channel before, Earth's Opus Omnibus. This is my wife's copy. This is a book I put together about 10 years ago for my players. And in it, I improved the Bigby's hand spells. I feel I improved them. Others may argue. The Clenched Fist in mine does 2 die 8 plus 1 damage on a 1 through 12. A 13 to 16 does 4 die 8 plus 1 damage. Plus 1 damage per caster level. 13 through 16 does 4 die 8 plus 1 per caster level. 17 through 19 is a hard punch, 6 die 8 plus 1 per caster level. Opponent is stunned for the next round, and then on a natural 20, 8 die 8 plus 1 per caster level, and the opponent is stunned for the next 3 rounds. This, of course, would be on just a raw roll. There are no bonuses for this. So it's still a tough thing to do, but at least with 4 die 8 plus 1 per level, if I'm a 14th level mage, I'm going to do a minimum of 18 points of damage. If I threw 4 ones plus my 14, that's still 18. That's still at least something. So I felt that kind of improved the spell. The Bigby's Crushing Hand, I gave a similar treatment. So we're going to go to the Bigby's Crushing Hand now, a 9th level spell. So it's a 9th level spell. It's 9 segment casting time and 5 feet per level again. But the Crushing Hand, and you can use either this one as the Crushing Hand or just the Clenched Fist, imagining the character, the opponent in it. 1 round per level, no saving throw again. causes the appearance of a huge disembodied hand, which is similar to Bigby's Forceful Hand and Bigby's Clenched Fist. The crushing hand is under the mental control of the spellcaster. He or she causes it to grasp and squeeze an opponent. Damage from this constriction depends on the number of rounds it acts upon the victim. First round, 1 to 10 hit points. Second and third rounds, 2 to 20 hit points. Fourth round, 4 to 40 hit points, and that's 4 to 40, fourth round and beyond. The hand can sustain hit points equal to those of the magic user who created it before being dispelled. The material components of the spell are a glove of snakeskin and a shell of an egg. Again, really good power. Still, for a 9th level spell, 1 to 10, 2 to 20, 4 to 40, the odds of you rolling enough to really matter in that combat for a 9th level spell aren't good enough for my tastes. So our crushing hand in the first round does 2 die 10 plus 1 damage per caster level. So it's going to be a minimum of 18. And then if he rolls 2 ones, it's going to be 20 points of damage. The second round is going to be 4 die 10 plus 1 damage per caster level. And the fourth round and beyond is going to be 8 die 10 plus 1 damage per caster level. I feel that this is a better reason to take the spell in your arsenal. I used these spells for many years before I changed this. These improved damage stats have been in play in our game now for better than 10 years, almost 11 now. And it hasn't hurt the game. It hasn't skewed the game in any way. It hasn't made Bigby's hands any more popular at my table. Amazingly, I don't really see them unless I'm a player. I take them all the time with my higher level mages. My highest level mage, I believe, is 19th. And he takes the Bigby's hand spells. It's just something that I feel is good to have in your arsenal. And it's something that I enjoy doing. And I like the idea that magic resistance does not matter. So that draw warrior that's vexing you, okay, put him in a clenched fist. It doesn't matter if he's got a lot of magic resistance. He's not going anywhere. And odds are he has no teleport or anything like that, so you're just going to be able to hold him. So put him under a crushing hand and just pummel him. There's nothing that says you can't redirect the crushing hand once you've finished with one opponent and have it go on to another. So again, all the hands that we conjure, you have as many hit points as the caster who cast them, and that's before any kind of armor or anything are considered, or any other artificial buffs to hit points. And then the AC we give all 5 hands is AC 0. I'm going to look at one other little thing. I just need to change books. The last thing I wanted to look at today was the excellent cartoon on page 123 of the Dungeon Master's Guide. Page 121, beginning the magic item tables, that's what I named my page after. Page 123, the guy is holding a little rod with a little hand capping it, and it says, well, either it allows a magic user to throw the various Bigby's hand spells, or it's a +2 back scratcher. So far, we're not sure which. I actually gave out that item as a Bigby's hand. You could cast the Bigby's hand spells. It had up to 50 charges, and each charge cost 1 charge per level of the spell. So for the Interposing Hand, it was 5, and so on, all the way up to the Clenched Fist, which was 9. So you go through the charges pretty quick, but that was a way of balancing it too, because I didn't want the magic user having the magic item at his fingertips, no pun intended, as well as having the spells in the memory. The next thing I did with this is, in a later game with the exact same group of players, I gave out another one of these. The player was all excited and then found out it was indeed a +2 back scratcher. It was absolutely comfortable, and the player went with it and enjoyed it and made a point that, every night before he went to bed, he gave himself a nice back scratch, and every morning when he got up, he gave himself a nice back scratch. And he used to say it as part of his character's routine before bedding down or getting up in the morning. So I was happy that the player went with it. So that's all I've got to say today. I hope you enjoyed what you heard and saw. If you did, please like and subscribe. Tell your friends. I'm still getting over half my views from people that don't subscribe, so there's plenty of room to grow the channel. So come on in. We talk about games here a lot. And I'll see you next time on page 121.